Yo, what is going on, Jets Nation? Welcome back to the Jets Media Podcast. I'm joined by my buddy Jack, as usual.
Let's go.
And we got a preview show that we want to break down because there's a huge division matchup this Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time in Miami. Jets going over there. Woo, this is going to be a good one. I got a lot of excitement for this game for a lot of different reasons. I'm going to break it all down, lay it all out for you folks in today's show. Welcome in, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. And by the way, shout out to everybody on Instagram because this is the first time I'm ever live on Instagram from the standard. So we got some new software updates. So let me know in the chat right now on Instagram if you're watching. I'm going to check it out, actually. We got people on Instagram. We got 17 people. Shout out to everybody tuning in on the Instagram. This is the first time I'm ever live on this. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Let's go, man.
Let us know. Jack, how you feeling today, my guy?
I'm feeling like we're just about 48 hours away from watching the New York Jets play another football game, which obviously makes me very nervous, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sure this is nothing new for all of us to be feeling very nervous before a Jets game. But you know what, man? This is there for the taking. I'm aware that we got smoked by the Miami Dolphins just a few weeks back, but I am also aware that this is a different team with different energy. Zach Wilson's a different player than he was a few weeks ago. The Miami Dolphins have a decimated offensive line. We all know that means our defensive line is going to get after it. We all know that means we can expect a few mistakes, hopefully out of Tua Tagovailoa. And I don't know about you, man, but I have this weird, strange, feeling that the Jets can somehow pull out a W and make us go.
Let's go, Jack.
Even crazier than we've already gone. Make us continue this stream of hopefulness that I currently feel. How are you feeling about it?
Well, first of all, I love that you share the same sentiment with me because I have some optimism of winning this game. And let me just be straight up with you guys. I did not have that optimism last week. I didn't have it. No one did. But based off what we saw from the Jets and what we saw from the Dolphins, the Jets fans deserve to have some optimism. I want to give a big shout out to everybody tuning in on Instagram because, again, this is the first time that we are live here on the gram, which was pretty exciting. So let us know if you're watching us in the live chat on Insta. And, of course, if you're on YouTube watching it or Twitter, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are excited about this. Now, Jack, I do agree. There's this weird feeling that I have too, this weird confidence. And I think a lot of it has to do with, the factors of not only the Dolphins losing to the Titans the way they did, but them going into a short week with all the injuries that they have piled up. I mean, the offensive line injuries to the Dolphins, as well as Tyreek Hill being banged up. I do expect Tyreek Hill to play, but he's not going to be 100%. And if you guys watched that Titans-Dolphins game, I think we can all agree that Tua isn't the same quarterback when Tyreek Hill is not on the field. So put that with the mix of the New York Jets defense, which is arguably the best defense in the entire NFL against the pass. I think that this is where the Jets can go out there. And I also think this Jets team found a new confidence, a new swagger, because all offseason long, we were so excited about this team because of the complete unit that we had initially thought we had. And I think on Sunday was the first time we saw a dominant effort of all three phases of the ball clicking at the same time. Now, we have no reason to believe that it's going to be consistent because we haven't seen that from this team. But if they can really come together and replicate the performance they did, even 70%, the Jets are going to be competitive and even win this game.
I agree, man. Listen, I think it's up for the taking for the New York Jets to go out there and win this game. Obviously, we need another big performance from Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson needs another big performance from Zach Wilson if he wants to continue his career as a quarterback in the NFL. Most likely not with the New York Jets, if you ask me. But next year with, let's say, the Minnesota Vikings or everybody saying, backing up Mahomes in Kansas City, there's options on the table for Zach. So Zach wants to put some good film out there these last couple games. And, this Dolphins defense has been kind of hit or miss. They've been able to get after it, and they've had some other, performances that are not so stellar as well, i.e. last week, letting the Tennessee Titans come back with 3 minutes left in the game and
touchdown drives by
1 point.
Will Levis.
Unbelievable. So you never know what you're going to get from this Miami Dolphins defense. I'm not saying they're a bad defense, all you Dolphins fans. I know there's probably a couple Dolphins fans lurking in the chat already today. But now speaking about the Dolphins offense, Tua Tagovailoa is a very, very good quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think we can all agree. I think even Dolphins fans would agree that Tyreek Hill is the X factor to this offense. He's truly an unbelievable player. And it's not like he's this young guy anymore. He doesn't age. He's still just as fast as he's ever been. Yes, he's dealing with some nagging injuries now, but he's able to still be that guy, that Tua's go-to guy. So I think, he's obviously going to be an X factor in this one. I do agree with you. I think he will find a way to get out onto the field. We'll see how limited or not limited he may or may not be. But would you agree in saying that Tyreek, as good of a quarterback as Tua is, I feel like Tyreek is the true X factor to the Dolphins' success on offense?
If you say Tua's MVP, no. Tyreek is MVP. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What Tyreek Hill is doing is just, first of all, he's on pace to break records this season. And, I really think that Tua deserves his flowers. But at the same time, it really comes down to, for me, when I look at Tua, and I'm really trying not to say this from an hating perspective, we talked about on the AFC's Roundtable Wednesday night a little bit. Tua, what he's so good at is executing the structure of the offense, playing with timing and rhythm and spot throwing. But when the structure gets a little chaotic, when the defense shuts down the first read and the defense forces Tua to kind of do something within, outside of the structure, he struggles. He doesn't have that ability. And you flip it over to Zach, which I find is really interesting. Zach is kind of the opposite. Right? Zach struggles in structure and he thrives when things break down. Right? Now, Zach obviously hasn't done it on a consistent basis enough for him to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. But even last week against the Houston Texans, and you look at all of Zach Wilson's highlights throughout his NFL career, which are not a lot, they're all outside the pocket. They're all plays when they break down. So those are things that Tua hasn't really shown me, because I feel like what separates, elite level quarterbacks, that like MVP style Super Bowl winning guys like a Patrick Mahomes, even Josh Allen, those are the guys that can kind of put their team on the back. And that's something that I haven't seen from Tua. But at the same time, you may not need that from Tua if the team is executing at a high level around you. When you have a guy like Jalen Waddle, mixed in with the running back tandem of Mostert and Achane, of course, Tyreek Hill, and their offensive lines are playing pretty good this year. So that's not a knock on Tua, but that's something I want to see from the Jets defense perspective. Shut down the first read, force Tua to break down and force him to make plays with his legs and outside of the structure of the offense.
And as I was humbly reminded when we were previewing our last Jets-Dolphins matchup a few weeks ago, as I was talking crap about the Dolphins running game, I was humbly reminded that they're one of the top running teams in the league, at least when their guys are healthy. Achane was having an unbelievable year, went down with injury, and Mostert came and just kind of plugged right in and was a beast as well. So that's going to be another challenge for this Jets defense, who honestly, if there was any disappointing aspect to this Jets defense this season, it probably is how they've played against the run. So that's another factor that we're going to have to look out as well from a Jets fan perspective going into this game. Are we going to be able to contain the Miami Dolphins running game? Because if that's the case and we have to make Tua beat us by playing quarterback with a banged-up Tyreek Hill and with a banged-up offensive line and with our elite defensive line getting after him, that sounds like a recipe for success to the Jets. So if we can shut down that running game, I think that's going to be another crucial aspect to this matchup as well.
And I think that's the big, you could say the biggest kryptonite for the Jets, even though they're top 10 against the run. It's just they're so good where we have to figure out what they're not.
We have to figure out one area that
they're literally top 10 in every single statistical category as a defense: tackling, scoring, pass rush. Against the pass, against the run, they're top 10, but they're 10th total in rushing defense. Yeah. So I think that's the piece where I have to agree that they have to hone in on the run, because the way that the Dolphins can move the ball and how they move the ball against the Jets in the second half was on the ground. It was, moving that ball efficiently through the trenches. But I think we can all agree, the defense is going to make their plays. The defense is going to limit the offense. The entire game comes down to our offense and the New York Jets with Zach Wilson. We versed the Miami Dolphins just a few weeks back, and the biggest difference was that we started Tim Boyle in that game. And if you go back into that game, let's not forget that the score was 10-6 heading into half with all the momentum on the Jets side. Tua throws a pick six, and then on the very next play, he throws another interception to DJ Reed. And then the Jets had, with 5 seconds left, instead of taking a knee and going into half 10-6, they decided to do a Hail Mary with the player that never deserved to be in the NFL in the first place, in Tim Boyle, and we saw the Hail Mary. And then 17-6 heading into half, and then the defense kind of felt like they waved the white flag, like this offense is not going to help us out, and then we lost the game. So I hate that the Dolphins fans just look at that game and like, oh, we bodied the Jets, we steamrolled them in that game. You really didn't. I mean, Tua looked like crap in the first half. The defense did what they needed to do. They had a 4th down stop in the red zone, and for whatever reason, the Jets' offense just stunk in that game. And obviously, we haven't seen consistency from our offense, but we're coming off the best offensive performance of the season from the New York Jets. And now the question is, how can they replicate it? It'd be unfair for us to expect Zach to replicate that, because we're talking about a career game. We're talking about AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Congratulations, Zach Wilson, on that award.
How about that, bro?
Right? I mean, if I told you, chat, and I told you this, Jack, yeah, Zach is returning, and he's winning AFC Offensive Player of the Week against the Texans, what would you tell me?
Didn't DeVito win it in the NFC?
Yeah.
Dude,
what's happening in New York?
Unreal, bro. What an historic week for New York quarterbacks to have guys like Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson win the NFC and AFC Offensive Players of the Week, respectively.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. That's a graphic I would have never thought.
Tommy DeVito. I mean,
unbelievable.
Add Tommy DeVito as another list of great quarterbacks the Jets killed defensively. -1 yards against the Jets. It's a joke. But listen, man, I am really curious to get your guys' thoughts in the chat about Zach Wilson, because it really is going to be interesting, because as much as we want to celebrate the game against the Texans, it really is not going to matter unless he can kind of just show us that something clicked and he can do it again, and just not do that again, but just do everything he needs to do in order to help this Jets team win. And I went into the film room, Jack, and I was just like even more impressed with his game in particular, because, and we talked about it on the show after on Monday, but that game from Zach Wilson was so special for me because it was the first time I saw him be the reason why the offense was working. Like, he kind of elevated the guys around him. Yep. He was making plays where, like, nothing would have worked if he didn't make a play. Like that 3rd and 12 throw, for example, like, that's a sack, even if it's Aaron Rodgers. Yep. I mean, his athleticism to feel the pass rush coming to his blind side immediately and spin away and flip his hips and throw that ball the way that he did, being aggressive with the seam throws down the field. That throw to Ruckert, remember that throw where Ruckert kind of bobbled it and caught it still? Like, that was a 2nd and 15, and that was a play where pressure came and he extended the play, and it didn't really feel like a big play at the time, but then instead of it being 3rd and 15, it was 3rd and 4. They convert on that 3rd down, and then they go down the field and score a touchdown. So those little things that Zach Wilson did really was impressive to me, and I feel like seeing him be someone to, like, elevate the guys around him was big for his personal development and the overall structure of the offense.
Absolutely, man. And I think, there's no question that Zach Wilson has talent. It's just not been cultivated properly, and he hasn't shown it on a consistent basis from game to game, from season to season now in year 3. But, the talent is there. For sure it's there. Like I said, it just hasn't been cultivated. I'm thinking back to a couple weeks ago, the fact that he escaped the pressure and even got that ball into the end zone, and Tyler Conklin decided to play defense against Vegas.
That was the craziest throw.
One of the craziest throws I've ever seen in the NFL from any quarterback, period.
The craziest Hail Mary attempt.
Turns his body around, heaves it down the field.
Ref. Avoids Max Crosby and the ref.
Gets it into the end zone. Actually makes it into the end zone, like 60 yards. But then,
I couldn't catch it, though. I know. I was right there. I literally was 20 yards away from that. I was in Vegas, and can you imagine if they caught that and we'd be in a completely different situation?
I know. So this is what I'm saying, man. The talent is there.
It's just been between the years with him.
Exactly. It's a mental thing, and he, has not been blessed with great offensive coordinators. Obviously, going from LaFleur to Hackett is obviously not an ideal scenario. But this doesn't exonerate Zach Wilson by any means. I still don't think he's a good quarterback. I still don't think he has a place on the Jets after this year. But speaking about what we saw last week, and you mentioned, the few highlights that Zach Wilson does have as a player in the NFL are those off-schedule plays where he kind of extends and makes things happen himself. And absolutely, I totally agree with that. But I'm thinking even of the little things he did last week. I forget who the ball went to, but there was a rush, a free rusher came right up the middle. Zach Wilson saw the pressure, didn't get happy feet, didn't move. He knew he had an open receiver once the route broke free. He stayed there, took the hit, delivered the ball to the open receiver, and moved the change. So even the little things like that, where it's, the things that we need Zach to improve on, we've seen him do well, at least for one game. Now, this is where I drive myself crazy because we're talking about one game in, 3 years of mediocrity, below mediocrity, 3 years of being one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. But if we're just breaking down last week and hoping that he can keep the train rolling into this upcoming game, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels like he's playing differently. It feels like he's playing free. I don't know. We'll see what kind of Zach Wilson we get on Sunday, but we'll see. I don't know.
That throw was to Breece Hall. I know exactly what you're talking about, and we can even pull up some film. How about that?
How about that,
I
baby?
did a whole film breakdown, but I want to hear Jack's thoughts of the film, right? We never had Jack in the film room with us. So how about this, folks? Let us know in the chat if you want us to break down some film, because I'm kind of down. It was a really fun breakdown, Jack. I mean, I actually had a chance to,
we scored 30 points, dude. It must have been the most fun breakdown in
my life
in years.
And even on defense, because usually
bro.
the film breakdowns, I can't even look at the defense and be happy about it because they just suck. So bad. I mean, so bad, guys. I mean, give me a break. I get it, Richie. We suck. All right. Let's get into the film room, guys. We're doing a little non-usual stuff here. So I'm going to show it to you guys. We're in the film room. Let's break down this play. Now, I'm not sure where we're at. So this is the midpoint of the game. I think this is the drive right after halftime. Oh, this is a perfect freaking play to talk about right now with you, Jack. Perfect play to talk about. Perfect play to talk about with my man, Jack. You kidding me? So right here, let's break this down. All right, let's make us a little bigger on the bottom left. Everybody hit that like button right now for your boys. Now, you talk about Aaron Rodgers. This is Aaron Rodgers' impact on Zach Wilson, because this is what got us excited about Aaron Rodgers. And this is one of the first times I saw him do this. So this play was called a run, okay? So the play call from Nathaniel Hackett is a handoff, okay? So what Zach Wilson sees pre-snap is this. See the safety right here? Watch the safety creep up into the box. He's going to watch the safety crawl in right there. Zach sees it. Now watch what Zach Wilson does. Looks at Garrett, little hand signal. See that little hand signal? What Zach Wilson just did is tell Garrett, hey, you have one-on-one. There's no safety help. The ball's going to you. And the cool thing about this is you're going to see the offensive line like they're run blocking. So the whole offense thinks it's a run besides Zach and Garrett. And Zach notices the safety going down, so it's a one-on-one. And what does Zach Wilson do? Channels his little Aaron Rodgers. Ball snap, quick throw, back shoulder. I mean, very simplistic, not flashy, but the pre-snap recognition to notice the safety come down and check from the run and look at Garrett, little hand signal, and say, hey, this ball's going to you back shoulder is really impressive. And that just shows you the little mental development from Zach.
What a play, man. I mean, that's what all of us have been pounding the table to see all year long, and that's what we expected to see. I mean, go back to the preseason touchdown from Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson, where we all thought we were winning the Super Bowl. That's that same play right here, just not on the goal line, So obviously, you're absolutely right. That's, Aaron Rodgers having an impact on young Zach Wilson right there. Zach Wilson pre-snap, recognizing the safety moving down, showing blitz, realizing that his best player is one-on-one with no help over the top, and throwing a good ball, a ball that only Garrett Wilson could get his hands on. And it was a successful play, man. That's everything you want to see out of a developing quarterback, and that's what
There's the
Zach
hand
Wilson.
signal.
That's what Zach Wilson is he's a developing quarterback.
And that's all we talked about offseason, like hand signals in terms of like the offense got to get on the same page with Aaron. And if you're listening to the podcast and not watching, I highly recommend come on YouTube and rewatch this because we're breaking it down. And watch Zach Wilson, watch the hand signal, sees Jalen Petrie come down, and then watch him look at Garrett. And right there, that little putting his hand on the shoulder tells him back shoulder's coming to you. And look at the offensive line. Look at Tomlinson. He's climbing to block. All the offensive linemen are not in pass protection. They're all in run block. And that kind of gives away that this play was supposed to be a run, and Zach Wilson's smart. So really cool stuff to see that. And then I'm pretty sure the very next play is another great throw. And now I could be wrong. Let me see if this is the play I'm thinking of. Yes. So, and then look at this. The very next play, and Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show talked about this. He said he gave Hackett a lot of credit because he gave Zach Wilson an opportunity to get into rhythm where they called 10 straight passes, right? 10 straight passes they called, and it worked. So look at the play directly after that. Aggressiveness, hard play action. It's going to be an amazing route on bum-ass Derek Stingley Jr. Just kidding. He's not a bum. A great player. Garrett Wilson, nice out route to the outside. Zach Wilson with a hard pump fake, puts the ball where it needs to be. We'll let it run. Play action. And look at the pass protection. I mean, look at that pocket. You know what I like to call this, Jack? A BYU pocket. That's what Zach Wilson had in college.
True. Very true.
And then Zach is looking at Garrett. He sees the hard break to the outside sideline. Ball is out right now. And look at this thing. I mean, it's a 30-yard ball that comes out there on a bullet. And it's an easy throw, but it's good timing, good anticipation, good accuracy, and just it's a beautiful thing to watch, especially watching Garrett Wilson's route. Let's watch Garrett's route the whole time here. Little outside, ball's already out.
It's beautiful, man. That's a thing of beauty right there.
Garrett's so good. I can watch Garrett Wilson run routes all day.
He's unbelievable, man. We cannot waste the career of Garrett Wilson with mediocre quarterback play. We can't. We can't do it, man.
I want to see Garrett.
We can't do it.
I want to see Garrett Wilson just completely demolish Xavier and Howard and Jalen Ramsey, just like DeAndre Hopkins did. Just like DeAndre Hopkins did, folks, because he did. He washed them completely. We got a super chat from Douglas. Thank you, Douglas. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much, buddy.
I break down how other OF players played last week, offensive players, receivers getting separation, not dropping passes, etc. Zach Wilson elevated his game with decisiveness, but it was the rest of the offense doing their damn job that was so much a factor. I completely agree with you, Douglas. I did say Zach Wilson elevated the guys around him, but there was less pre-snap penalties. There was less back-breaking, plays, even though there was some in the first half. And the guys around him, there's no drop passes. There was no, issues. There was no miscommunication. So I think everything came in sync here.
They looked like a football team.
Yeah, man.
Like they looked like how we can turn on any other game that's not a Jets game and look at competent NFL football. They looked like that.
Yeah,
which was a lovely change of pace for all of us.
That's all we wanted,
man.
I mean, it's really all we wanted. So it's cool to see that the Jets were able to finally come together as an offense. But the reality is, will it continue? Right? Is it going to happen again this week? That's the big question.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
So now I think
Dolphins are banged up. It's a good opportunity for the Jets.
So this is that same drive. And Douglas, thank you so much for the super chat. It really does help out the channel more than you know, my man.
3-3 in the division, Rich.
I'm so down for that.
Why not?
All right, this is going to be the final play that we'll break down because it's the highlight of the day. All right, so this is the 3rd and 12 ridiculous throw of Zach Wilson. And my favorite part about this is I don't know how he felt the pressure and was able to spin away this fast, but watch, right when the ball snapped, Mekhi gets beat immediately. So you see the pressure coming on from Mekhi Becton, his blind side. Zach Wilson's looking left. Right there, Zach feels it. And, bro, Tim Boyle sacked. Simeon sacked. Even Aaron Rodgers sacked just because he's, up there in age. Prime Aaron Rodgers would do this. And Zach somehow feels it and spins away. Keeps his eyes down the field. Look where Garrett Wilson is. So this ball somehow is going to get completed to Garrett Wilson. And look where Zach is. Zach is near the 46, and Garrett's by the 25. Zach flips his hips right here, sees Garrett, and is just going to let this thing go with rhythm and no hesitation. If you notice the flip of the hips, that's my favorite part about this, is he just flips his hips so naturally and lets it loose without even hesitating. So like from right here, he's just going to go flip his hips and just fire the ball across his body 40 yards down the field on a frozen rope. And Lazard thinks he's getting the ball. You wish. Loser. Flip the hips, boom, from the 50-yard line down to the 15. I mean, that ball was literally on a rope, and Garrett Wilson, to get open and to help him out in that way is something special too.
And you know what's funny there? With a perfect ball, Lazard actually might have had a touchdown.
I
think that's funny. That's actually funny. But, yeah, what a play from Zach Wilson. I think just the instincts right there. Right there is my favorite part of the play. The throw he made, turning the hips, that's all great. But right there, that's something that, guys, even like Aaron Rodgers is not doing. So this is like
Tua's not doing this.
No, this is an advantage of
look at it in slow-mo.
This is pretty much the only advantage of having Zach Wilson as your quarterback, is his instincts when it comes to escaping pressure and extending plays. And in this instance, finding Garrett Wilson down the field. Garrett Wilson makes a great grab, great throw, great gain, great play.
And then the next play after this was a touchdown.
Was that the Cobb touchdown?
Yeah. And this is the play that Garrett Wilson was supposed to be in the game, but he had 3 catches in a row. So we needed a breather. And this, I got to give credit to Hackett. I love the play design and the concept. I think the scheme really deserves some credit here because, first of all, the red zone has been so bad this year. So we finally got to see a good play call, good play design. So we're going to have Yeboah kind of come up and sit here to pick and get congested, and Cobb is going to come down on a shallow cross over the middle. And this is supposed to be Garrett Wilson, but Cobb still plugged in and did what veterans do. So watch the play here. Also, great pocket as well. He paused it there. Look at the pocket. Perfect. BYU pocket. You see Yeboah sit down, and he's kind of like doing everything he can without drawing a penalty to kind of draw these 2 defenders into each other. That's going to free up Cobb because Stingley is kind of still focusing on Ruckert because it's zone. So he has to pass off Ruckert, but at the same time, Stingley doesn't do a good job and moves away from his zone. And then Zach Wilson is good enough to stay patient, doesn't throw it too early, stays patient, flicks the ball now, gets the ball in rhythm on time, and that opens up Cobb for the touchdown. I like that play design a lot.
Randall Cobb with a touchdown as a New York Jet, man.
His 4th catch as a Jet.
Never thought I would have seen it.
Especially from Zach.
Beautiful play.
So that,
yeah, that's the you're right. That's the play design more than anything, and the execution. Kenny Yeboah did a great job drawing those defenders in without making any sort of contact, because we know the Jets can draw some illegal contacts, guys. We know that that's a possibility.
Like, only us. That was the first touchdown of the game,
God.
by the way, just for it to get called back from Yeboah, and then everything goes downhill. But it didn't happen.
I'm still thinking about that illegal contact on Sauce Gardner. What a joke, man.
Oh, my gosh.
What a
What
joke.
are we doing here?
We can do a whole podcast just shitting on the officials in the NFL, because it's gotten to a point of no return, honestly, where like me and my dad like don't even care about like any game that's not a Jets game. Me and my dad were chilling last night watching some TV. We're like, you want to watch the game? We both said, nah, we're good. Ended up being like, a stink fest anyway. The Raiders absolutely destroyed the Chargers. Chargers fired their coach and general manager.
Hilarious.
Today. But yeah, man, I mean, what's going on with these officials, man? It's bad.
It's so frustrating.
So frustrating. At least make it consistent.
Let's talk AFC East. I'm curious. Your
Let's do
thoughts. Who is the better quarterback? Josh Allen or Tua Tagovailoa?
I think if you're just talking pure
Quarterback, like you're the football player, everything that they bring to the table.
Yeah, I think I would rather start my team. I would rather base my team around Josh Allen than base my team around Tua. But obviously
100%.
This season we've seen more success from Tua. I think Tua has a better team around him than Josh Allen does. I mean, the Bills are still a very talented team. But if you got Tyreek Hill as your number 1 receiver, and then, throw in a guy like Jalen Waddle at number 2, I know he's dealt with some injuries, but yeah, I would start my team around Josh Allen over Tua for 100%.
Yeah, I agree, because I've been kind of going back and forth with that myself Shout out to loyal NY Jet fans tuning into Instagram. This is our first time live on Instagram.
Let's go, baby.
One of the kings of Jets Instagrams live right now with us. So appreciate
The guy on Jets Instagram.
Shout out to you, Ali.
Shout out to our boy Ali. Love you, buddy.
But yeah, I have the lean towards Josh Allen as well. I've been kind of going back and forth, but based off what I've seen this season, even though the Dolphins are in first place, I got to take Josh Allen. I mean, he's one of those quarterbacks that kind of puts the team on his back, and he's kind of polarizing. Yeah. Well, he'll give you the turnovers, but he also give you those game-wrecking, game-changing plays where, like, he's the reason why the Bills are winning. So, yeah. And then
I've witnessed Josh Allen, pick up 20 yards with his legs on 3rd and 15 against the Jets. I haven't witnessed Tua Tagovailoa do that. So the dual threat is obviously a factor. I think Josh Allen has a bigger arm. I know Tua's got a very big arm, but Josh Allen definitely has a bigger arm. And Josh Allen is just, I think, a slightly better quarterback.
He's also happens to be a bum, though, at the same time. Like, he's a good quarterback, but at the same time, that man is a bum, as our great friend TD Finstock will say, who is about to lose this Sunday back-to-back weeks. TD, we're thinking of you. I know last Monday was not good for you, right? I mean, you had a lot of things go your. I don't know if you saw the clip of his live stream, Jack. I
actually did not see any clips from the Dolphins Titans game, which I have to, because I can't imagine what his reaction was.
Dude, it was comedy gold. What you do gotta watch is Master at Work made his fantastic edit, and it's 10 minutes of it's literally like ghetto Gronk in YouTube form.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
No, I've seen his stuff before. I haven't seen
It just came out last night. Just came out last night, guys. Definitely go check out the AFC East Roundtable because they came out with a hilarious edit. Master at Work made the edit. So shout out to you, Master at Work. Let's freaking go. So guys, if you are not aware, we've announced this on Roundtable Sports and announced it on the AFC East Roundtable. But just want to let you guys know we have launched our brand new graphic tee collection, which your boy's wearing right now. We've had a lot of Jets fans actually purchase their merch, which I'm really, really excited about. So if you guys are interested in checking out the AFC East Roundtable and Roundtable Sports in general merch, that link is now pinned at the top of the chat. We got a lot of awesome different types of t-shirts. You got the Aaron Rodgers one, which is kind of brand new, which is I don't have yet. I got to get my hands on that. I mean, come on now. Ron, who is back at practice, and who knows if he's going to play this year? Probably not. Breece Hall, which is another one who's about to go off on Sunday, if I had to guess. Garrett Wilson, which is a fresh one. And we got a Josh Allen one. We got some other, Justin Jefferson. Where's the sauce one? This is the one that I'm wearing right now. Now, these are really high-quality, heavyweight cotton T-shirts, folks. If you're wondering, that the type of quality of the shirt is very, very high quality. A good buddy of mine, one of my best friends, if not my best friend, Paul, is the merch guy that he's been putting in a lot of work into these things. So if you guys want to go support us and represent Roundtable Sports, that link is now pinned at the top of the chat. And if you guys want to get your graphic tees, these are pretty fresh. We got some other ones in the works, like a Williams brothers. So we got a Quincy and Quinnen Williams ones in the work. Maybe some other Jets players as well. But we had a lot of Jets fans buy a lot of Jets stuff, which are really, really excited about, because I have this little rivalry where I want Jets fans to buy more shirts than anybody else. And so far, if I had to put the rankings, Jets fans are number 1, Bills fans are 2, Dolphins fans are 3. So I like it. They like it. That's what we like to see. Oh my gosh, that's freaking awesome. All right.
Great stuff, man. I got to get my hands on one of those shirts.
Which one would you want out of those Jets
players?
You
already got the sauce one, so I guess I would have to.
I'm gonna have all of them, so
I would have to go for the G Dub, I guess, or the Breece.
G Dub or Breece.
Yeah.
At those, you can flip a coin, right?
Rodgers is fresh as well, but we'll see.
We're seeing the talent and the studs of our guys on the field, but not those. So we shall see. Guys, as you know, let's get into the odds of the Jets and the Dolphins game. The proud sponsor of Jets Media has been and will be for the rest of the season, BetUS Sportsbook. If you want to get a 125% sign-up bonus, you guys can simply click the link down below in the description and get a 125% sign-up bonus. So that means you make an account, you put $100 in, you get $225 total dollars to play with. Please bet responsibly. They have a 24/7 hour customer service where you can give them a phone call as well as really fast payouts. So I could not recommend enough going over to BetUS and checking out their website if you're interested to place some bets.
BetUS, America's favorite sports book, where you can bet on everything anytime. Sportsbook, casino, horse racing, live betting, and more. We have the best bonuses in the industry. That's right, get a 125% sign-up bonus. And to celebrate our 30-year anniversary, we are giving up to 30 risk-free bets, a truck, Super Bowl tickets, and more. Don't miss out. Play smart. Join now. BetUS, where the game begins.
Where the game begins. So shout out to BetUS. Jack, let's get into the odds of this game. Those are the wrong odds. Here we go. All right. Let's check it out. Let's make it a little bigger. The Jets are 9.5-point underdogs. Just how we like it. Jack, what's your initial thoughts of all the odds presented by BetUS for this game?
I think I might be sprinkling a little bit on that plus 370 Jets money.
Well, I might have to do $10 putting on the Jets money line will win you $37. $100 putting on the Jets money line will win you $370. So the sports book doesn't see the New York Jets winning this game.
They do not.
They didn't see us beat the Texans either.
They don't know.
They don't know what's coming.
They don't want us to
All we needed is one game of everything clicking, and now the confidence of this team. And another thing about this game that I feel like a lot of people don't realize is the Jets have nothing to lose in this game. Like, Zach Wilson doesn't have anything to lose because what's the worst that's going to happen to him? He gets benched again, right? That's why he's playing free. And also, I'm not bragging about this, by the way. It's unfortunate that we have nothing to lose. I wish we had something to lose because I want to make the damn playoffs, and I know that we're still mathematically alive and all that.
I was going to say, we are back in the rooting guide.
We're back in the rooting guide.
I have the rooting guide if you want me to pull it up for you guys.
I'm down after this, 100%. But, like, this game means so much to the Miami Dolphins because them losing to the Titans is so bad because Dolphins fans, which I absolutely love, are completely looking forward beyond the Jets because they have the Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills after the Jets. So they're like, oh, my God, the last 3 games is brutal.
The fact that they play the Ravens, too, is huge. I mean, they can still kind of control their own destiny with a win over the Ravens, and obviously they have to beat us, and they have to, hope that the Ravens maybe lose a game. But the fact that they have the Ravens on the schedule is huge for this AFC playoff implication, man.
Absolutely. So I think that the Dolphins fans a lot of them are just looking past the Jets. Like, all right, we're going to beat the Jets easily, and then we got to worry about those last 3 games. No. You got to worry about the last 4 games, baby, because this Jets team is ready to go. I predicted the Jets to split with the Dolphins, and I still stand on my prediction. Definitely going to take the Jets plus 9.5, if anything, because this game is going to be close. I really genuinely believe that. In Miami, it's going to be a rainy game, I believe. So the Jets are going to be in the rain. But the one thing that we saw about the rain, hey, maybe it goes in the favor of the Jets. We saw the Jets offense click in the rain, and maybe the Dolphins are not really used to the rain, and the defense can pin their ears back and get some turnovers.
This team that's played in the rain all year gets to go in Miami in December in what should be a lovely, 75-degree sunny day, perfect football weather. And this team gets rain on the forecast once again, bro. You can't make it up. The football gods do not want to see the Jets win. But, hey, my brother Richie makes a good point. The Jets offense turned it up in the rain last week.
Because Texans fans can't say, oh, but CJ Stroud, the rain, because they look across the sideline. Oh, wait, but Zach, look what Zach did.
Look at what Zach, the Truth Wilson, did last week in the rain. And I say the truth with extreme sarcasm, everybody. But, we'll see, man.
Some Dolphins fans are saying that they're not looking past us. No, Richie, Dolphins never look past the Jets. This is Dolphins' oldest rivalry. Back in the day, Bills and Patriots sucked.
That's true, man. You got the fake spike. You got the Monday Night Miracle. There's been some storied Jets-Dolphins games throughout the history of our 2 franchises. And, I would say before the Patriots took over and became the best team in sports for like 20 freaking years, Jets and Dolphins was probably the most heated rivalry within the division, but now it's Patriots and everybody else. But, that's a good point. Good point.
Shout out to, we just got some merch being sold.
Let's go.
Not a Jets fan, though. Someone purchased 2 Josh Allen t-shirts. So shout out to Thomas if you're watching, or you found out our merch store through Dan Mitchell's YouTube channel. Not sure, but we appreciate you. Also, shout out to Michael, who purchased some merch. So thank you guys for the support.
Thank you, guys.
On the merch site.
And shout out to Douglas with another super chat. Thank you, Douglas. He asks, how does Miami's D compare to Houston's? I'm not sure in terms of total defense. I remember the Texans were 19th in the league in total defense going into last week's game. I'm not sure how the Dolphins compared to that numbers-wise. But like I said earlier in the stream, we've seen the Dolphins defense play extremely, extremely well. Going back to that Broncos game earlier in the season. But then we see them kind of lay an egg and give it up in the last 3 minutes to a guy like Will Levis and the Titans offense, who are no world beaters, just 1 week ago. And here they are on a short week getting ready to go against a red-hot Zach Wilson.
And
so
Jalen Phillips going down definitely hurt their defense. He was
absolutely.
a very, very promising player.
Absolutely. The MetLife Turf claimed another one with that.
And shout out to Thomas. He is in the chat. This is who just bought two Josh Allen tees, one for him and one for his son. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Thomas. I appreciate you tuning in as a Bills fan and represent those. And when you do get the shirts, please take a photo of you and your son and tag us on socials. I would love that. A big fan of you, Richie, from day one. Thomas, thank you so much, my man. We really do appreciate the support and love to see some Bills fans representing Roundtable Sports merch. And one thing I did want to say about the defense that we're talking about, I think a big reason why the Jets were so good against the Texans is the defense that they went up against is the same exact system that Saleh runs. So I feel like Saleh could have had a big impact in the offensive game plan. Like, he knows his defense in and out, and he knows the weaknesses of it. And if there is weaknesses, I think Saleh probably went, and I don't know this, but I'm just assuming with the familiarity with Zach Wilson going up against the Jets defense in training camp and his entire career with the New York Jets, he probably had a good idea of how to attack this defense, which is the same exact schematically, formations 4-3 base scheme of Ryan's, who's come from the 49ers tree, just like Saleh. So I don't know if that had a big say, but I really do think that had something to do with it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, everything's a factor. I mean, that could definitely factor into things. You never know. I don't know, man. I feel more optimistic than I thought I would going into this game when we're just 2 days out.
Well, guys, if you're not aware, we have another YouTube channel titled Touchdown Kingdom, where we come out with our weekly predictions, and Jack is the brains behind our weekly picks.
Oh, yeah,
and we won't spoil who Jack picked, but go check it out. Touchdown Kingdom Week 15 predictions, and the thumbnail, I put Zach on the thumbnail. I put Zachary Wilson on the thumbnail of the video, and I've never done that before. I only put people. There's 4 people on the thumbnails per video, and whoever are like the trending players, I like to put on there. And Zach Wilson, AFC Player of the Week. You made the thumbnail. Now go prove it again.
Let's go.
That's what says Richie.
Zach Wilson made the thumbnail.
Do you think Zach gets 300 yards again? I don't know, man. Listen, he has 3 career 300 yards games. So like, you're talking about a fluke. Now, could this be something where something clicks and all of a sudden, like, he just hits a 80-yard bomb to Garrett Wilson and going underneath the Breece Hall helps out a lot? Listen, I'll say this. I don't think he needs to get 300 yards to win. So the Jets can win with Zach going for 220 and 2 touchdowns, or even 175 and just turnover free ball. And we tap into that type of Zach Wilson, where we saw him, early in the season last year, beating the Steelers and beating, the Packers, of just playing game manager role and relying on the run game and relying on a defense. I don't think we need Zach to put up 300-plus yards and 2 touchdowns a game to win, but it'll be great to see again.
Listen, if there was ever a game that the Jets are playing angry, I think it's this one. I know we're coming off of a win, so we have, momentum from that.
It's a division game. They want that division win.
And outside of just it being a division game, the Miami Dolphins embarrassed us on Black Friday. I know when you break it down, it's not like they decimated us, and I know we made Tua look like crap in the first half, but I mean, the fail Mary, come on, that's already in Jets infamy forever. So the Dolphins embarrassed us just a few weeks ago. So we have the opportunity to go into their building and embarrass them. And you know what, bro? I know we're talking about the offense a lot. I think that we could potentially see the best game of the season from this Jets defense. I really, really, really do feel that way, bro. The Dolphins' offensive line is banged up. We know Tua makes mistakes when he's under pressure. Tyreek Hill is dealing with an injury. The Dolphins have not looked like the same Miami Dolphins that they were, even just a few weeks back. So I think that not only the offense, but I think this Jets defense could truly, and obviously I might be wrong, this is all speculation, But if I had to pick one game for the Jets defense to really show us who they are, and they've had multiple games where they've showed us who they are already, but I think this could be it, bro. I think the Jets defense could go out there and suffocate Tua.
Eat him up, Jermaine
Man.
Johnson and Quinnen. Those are the people we need. Connor Williams on IR and Liam Eichenberg still in a boot yesterday. Miami has no centers left and both guards are out. That is the key to this game. Can we hold up? Nothing else will matter. Bro, we need Quinnen Williams. I mean, he's coming off the game, his best game of the season. And Amanda's in the chat. Actually, look at that. I said Quinnen. Amanda says Quinnen. Shout out to Amanda in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. Quinnen against a backup center should be fun.
Hell yeah.
What do you think about that matchup?
I'm going to be keying in on that all game long, man. That's
Dude,
going to be fun.
Quinnen Williams has been getting triple teamed and double teamed all season. And the fact that he was able to find that sack that he had, do you know who he beat one-on-one? George Fant.
Yes.
He did a little twist, came to the outside, and absolutely shelled off George Fant. It was pretty cool to see Quinnen Williams beat up on his former teammate.
I think Bryce Huff put George Fant in a body bag on that one sack as well, right?
Absolutely.
Just absolutely blew right past
That
him.
was a blitz call, too. So
Yeah.
it was like Fant kind of stemmed inside and then didn't get enough depth. I mean, I have the film, so I could find that sack.
I also think out of all the amazing celebrations that these Jets defenders have, we know Quincy Williams has got his axe chop, whatever you want to call it.
You mean
no,
Jermaine?
that's Jermaine. That's Jermaine with
tomahawk?
Yes. And
Quinnen's dance.
Quincy's got his
Uppercut.
fists. Quinnen's got the dance. But I think
The Bryce
Bryce
Huff
Huff's crossover might be.
He's like-
I think that might be my favorite, man. I think his crossover dance might be my favorite. It's clean. He makes it look the best.
But I'm scared, man. I don't want Bryce Huff to leave us, but like there's a very likelihood that he does. I don't know, man.
I know, and I think that if Joe Douglas was smart, he would make retaining Bryce Huff a huge priority. Obviously, we don't have to worry about Carl Lawson coming back. He is most certainly not
And you know
coming
why
back.
though?
So Bryce Huff has got to be that guy, but he's going to get opportunities elsewhere, and who knows if we're going to be able to give him the bag that other teams are going to be able to give him.
And something that the Jets are gonna have to start doing is looking into the future and making sure their finances are able to pay guys like Sauce, Bree.
Bro,
that's why it's like, are you going to prioritize the long run and pay those guys? Because if you ink up Bryce Huff now, then it's going to be complicated to take care of these guys. So that's the weight that they got to do. But while Bryce is here, let's talk about him and break down the sack that Jack just brought up because it deserves it. This has become a little film breakdown sesh as well. Now, this is the play that Jack was talking about when Bryce Huff screamed off the edge and beat George Fant. The Jets call an all-out blitz. It's a six-man rush. Man coverage across the board with a single high safety. And the speed. Now, the cool thing about this play is Bryce Huff's ability to change his direction. Like his hips and his athleticism was on full display. So look at George Fant immediately going inside because he's expecting to help out here, and he immediately realizes, like, Bryce Huff is coming free. So Bryce Huff comes free, and C.J. Stroud sees Bryce Huff, and he's going to try to escape the pocket. But what Bryce Huff does so well is that chop, first of all. He plants his right foot, squares his hips to kind of, avoid C.J. Stroud to roll out, and then just uses momentum to dive onto C.J. Stroud. Like, that should not have been a sack. I mean, like,
so good.
How did he do that? You know what I
good.
mean? Like, let's watch it again in slow-mo this time because Bryce Huff's athleticism is just ridiculous because C.J. Stroud easily should have got away from this.
Man.
I mean, that speed is unreal. Watch it in slow-mo. Just let it run. And just watch him chop Fant, plant his feet in the ground, shift his momentum back to the outside, and trip up CJ. That is gorgeous. That is
can't do it can't do it any better.
Perfect.
Can't do it any better.
And there he goes with the little whoop,
Love it.
little cross up.
Love it.
I mean, this is a guy the Jets got to take care of, man. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they just got to. They got to figure it out.
Bro, that's something that I've been thinking about for a while now because outside of the quarterback position, and obviously we have Aaron Rodgers coming back next season, but there's going to come a time where we're going to have to pay Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, throw Jermaine Johnson in there as well in like the same offseason. How is that happening? It's not.
Yeah.
The answer to that is not. So we still find ourselves,
Which is
as
why the
crazy
window
as it
like
is to
right
say, I was just going to say, we still find ourselves in this kind of win now window, bro, which is like
which is why they got Rodgers.
terrifying.
And now it's sad. And the cool thing about that, just to flip it into a little positive, I made a tweet about the sophomore class, right? The 2022 draft class was hyped up when it happened. They were great as rookies, but it was kind of like just the Sauce and Garrett show because Breece went down with an injury. Jermaine Johnson didn't really have a breakout rookie season. Ruckert didn't play. I mean, what's your thoughts of the year two players? Like, what's your thoughts of their development? Because I think the entire draft class, and now throw in Ruckert in there.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Ruckert has come a long way, man. He's officially a factor in the passing game. He's always been our best blocking tight end since he joined the team. And that includes Yeboah, that includes Conklin, that includes Uzoma.
And before I just have to remind myself and you, another person who is a year two member, Tony Adams.
Tony
He
Adams
deserves to be part of that class. He's an
Damn.
undrafted free agent.
I would not have mentioned his name, so thank you for that. Tony Adams, St. Louis University High, baby. I love it. One of my favorite Jets. I love how he plays the game. I love how he learns the game. I love how he just always gives all the credit to his coaches and to his teammates, and always saves himself for last. He's a great player, and I love what he's been able to do. Garrett Wilson, obviously a stud, on pace for another 1,000-yard season. Breece Hall has had a more quiet year than last year, but at least we've seen the longevity out of Breece Hall this year, which I like a lot.
And his receiving threat is just
yes,
get him the ball in space.
Absolutely,
It's just
absolutely.
the unfortunate
That's
thing
the
for
thing for
Breece
Breece Hall.
is the run game is a mess offensively, blocking wise. But when you get the ball in rhythm in space, I mean, 8 catches for 90-something yards and a touchdown. That's what the thing is with Breece. Unfortunately, the run game's not there, but luckily for the Jets, they're finding ways to get Breece the ball in space in the pass game.
And I think the guy who was kind of flying under the radar the most throughout all of that was Jermaine Johnson, and he's had a in terms of like
Curious his stats.
like we saw the potential of Breece Hall last year. We saw the potential of Garrett Wilson last year. But in terms of like improving, becoming a different player, I think it's Jermaine Johnson by far in terms of the guys, our second year players. I think, Jermaine Johnson has really taken the leap. I mean, that's just
look at this leap right here.
That's
This
nothing
season's
against
not
Breece
over.
and Garrett, though. I mean, they've been great from the start.
Yeah.
But Jermaine Johnson has really taken that leap this year and showed us who he can be.
We all knew it too, which is
Absolutely.
cool. So Jermaine Johnson, as a rookie, had 29 total tackles with 2.5 sacks. This year, he has 43 combined tackles and 6.5 sacks.
He's got 6.5 sacks this year.
6.5 sacks,
Dude.
And I love the Jets.
Have a year, Jermaine.
Dude, I think Bryce Huff leads the Jets in sacks with 7. Let me double check.
And I love that they moved up for Jermaine, because if you guys remember,
So it's like our guy.
that was the season when the Jets were one of the coaches of the the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
So they got to know Jermaine Johnson very well over the course of that week. He did so good during, all the drills and scrimmages before the actual game that he took himself out of the game, didn't even play in the game to,
Dominated in
to
practice.
save his body. And the Jets move up and draft him. So to see him,
We wanted
pan
him
out-
at 10, bro. I
Yeah.
remember like sitting there at 10, like
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson. They went Garrett Wilson. I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't think they're going to go receiver,
Yep.
but Garrett Wilson's a stud. I'll take him.
Oh man.
And then I'll never forget just being still live and watching the Jets trade up. And everybody knew who they were drafting when we saw them trade back up, because Jermaine was still
Absolutely.
available.
Absolutely.
And the fact that we pulled away with those 3 guys and the next day we trade up for Breece Hall, that would be, and it's cool to see that that hype that we had is actually like for real. Like it would be sad if like we were so hyped up or no one's staying healthy or a couple of them are a bust. Like literally all 4.
I feel
are
like it's
hits.
like that's like unheard of. I was just gonna say, like, when have 4 players been taken in the same draft that like everybody is
Franchise
like
players.
fully on board with? Nobody really has any bad things to say about.
You can argue like the 2 best players on offense is Breece and Garrett. You look at the offensive game against the Texans, literally the entire offense ran through both of them.
Yeah.
And then on
absolutely.
defense, you can argue one of the best players on the team is Sauce Gardner. I would even say he's the best next to Quinnen. Him and Quinnen are the
For
best.
sure.
And then Jermaine Johnson's right there as the best player on that defense. So, like,
this year, statistically, for sure.
Because
he's got a long career ahead of him as well. So, it's tough to compare him to a guy like CJ, obviously, who's like this veteran who's been great for so many years. But when you look at performance this season, Jermaine is one of the top dogs on this defense that's filled with dogs, man. So he's having a hell of a year.
He really is, man. So shout out to the year 2 class.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Can we segue here real quick? I know we only got a few minutes left. But I only saw this morning. What are your thoughts on Rich Cimini reporting the other day on Flight Deck podcast that the Jets are not expected to re-sign Mekhi Becton this offseason?
Yeah, that doesn't shock me. I feel like the Jets are probably going to get Joe Alt is my guy in the draft that I've been doing some research on from Notre Dame. He is like the epitome of a left tackle, like a franchise guy.
He's a Joe Douglas guy.
He's just a Joe Douglas guy. He's going to hit his head on the ceiling while he walks in. He's just one of those guys. So I think the Jets, financially speaking, if you want to talk about Bryce Huff, it's going to be one of the two. It's not going to be both.
Yeah.
Maybe they can land. The only way you bring back Mekhi is if he's willing to have a 1-year prove-it deal. But I think also, Jack, Mekhi might want to move on himself. Like, I feel like he doesn't really have that relationship with his team, and he kind of wants to move on. I feel like it's going to be a mutual parting ways types of thing where it just didn't work out with him. Unfortunately for him, he got hurt for the 2 seasons out of the 4 years of him being here. He's healthy this season. He missed 1 game, but he's been up and down this year. It doesn't shock me as much as I loved Mekhi when we drafted him. And it would be the only way the Jets would bring him back is if Mekhi would take, a 1-year prove-it deal, because there's no way the Jets are actually going to give him a long-term deal.
You don't think there's any chance that the Jets would tag him?
The franchise tag is interesting because it's a fully guaranteed like $15 million cap hit, and that could be going to Bryce Huff. So like, you only have 1 tag. So it's like, you want to tag Bryce Huff for an all-win now year, or do you want to tag Becton? If it's me, I'm saying bring back Mekhi and draft the tackle, and just like, I just want the offensive line to be the best it could possibly be based off of all the injuries that we suffer. But it's unfortunate, and listen, those reports sometimes are wrong, so we shall see, right?
Yeah, listen, I just didn't even hear about it until this morning. I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw that. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. And coming from a guy like Cimini, who's obviously in bed with the Jets organizations for years now and has all the inside, stuff and really knows what he's talking about. Love him or hate him, he's definitely one of the, probably the top Jets insider out there. So I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was worth bringing up on the podcast. You ask me, I would love to find a way to keep Mekhi Becton. I think the good tape that is out there on him is really, really, really freaking good. But the injuries are a huge factor, and it's a business, and we want to keep Bryce Huff. We want to draft a stud in the draft. So whatever's gonna be is how it's gonna be. But I would love to find a way to keep Mekhi on this roster. But that's just me, man. Business is business. We'll see.
I would rather keep my man Mekhi as well. I have a soft spot for Mekhi.
Me too, man. Joe Douglas's first draft pick as GM of the Jets. Like, we were loving him from the start. We've always known
his rookie
that
season was so good.
Oh my God, he was dominant, bro, dominant. I mean, go back and watch some Baldy breakdowns from Mekhi Becton's rookie season if you want to see some true quality offensive line play. But yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know.
100%. Now I want to get your thoughts of this before we get out of here, because we saw a report. And I want to give a shout out to Scroogey. He has a nice thing to say. These two guys are not only true fans, but give better analysis than most commentators. Well, thank you. We appreciate that, man.
I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All the kind words in the chat means a lot. And of course, all the negativity means a lot as well. But Robert Saleh said that Aaron Rodgers kind of pushed himself this week in practice, where he was doing bootlegs, he was doing rollouts, and he was doing things. And Saleh's like, he looks completely normal to me. Now the next step for Aaron is to get into 11 on 11. So what's your thoughts right now of Aaron Rodgers potentially still eyeing a return? Like, say hypothetically the Jets beat the Dolphins, and Zach Wilson is a big reason for it. Do you still want the Jets to go out? Like,
even watching that right there, how did the guy tear his Achilles in September?
Yeah, like, what are we looking at?
Like, it's not May, it's December right now. Like, what? Like, I just don't. Like, is the guy not even a human being?
Dude,
is he a robot?
I don't understand.
And listen, man, my thoughts haven't changed unless we're in the playoffs, which is obviously highly unlikely. By the way, that's our boy.
Yeah.
That's our boy right there, bro. Yo, this guy does it all for the Jets, dude. We got to find out this guy's name. This guy,
probably
if
on
you've
the
been to
website.
Jets training camp, he does everything. He's fielding punts. He's throwing towels. He's catching passes and throwing them back. This guy right there, bro, is like the practice field god for the New York Jets,
Yo,
dude.
like, watch the catch though.
And
Watch
here
the
he
catch.
is just catching balls from
Bah, look at the
Aaron
hands.
Rodgers, bro.
Oh, he's ready for another one. Look at the hands. Hands.
Boom.
Dude, that guy is my
Dog.
guy. Every time I go to training camp, I'm just so amazed by him. He is energetic. We
If
got to
any-
get him on the pod.
If anybody
honestly.
knows that guy's name and knows how we can contact him, hook us up. We need to get him on the pod.
I mean,
That guy's the do-it-all guy for the Jets Florham Park practice facility.
now I got to check because, like, do they have a staff list on their website? They probably do.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know how to find this right now. Let me see. Staff? Because he has to be, like, an athletic. Like, what was his role be?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know what their website is.
I don't know.
I'm looking for the Jets staff because I got to
But
get
if you
this
guys
guy's
have
name.
been to Jets training camp, you guys know who we're talking about most likely.
Yeah, he's the
That's
guy.
hilarious.
He
though.
runs around and just literally does everything. He's on the field pregame as well for game days. So
Absolutely.
I don't know his name.
But going back to my point real quick before I was distracted by the GOAT, and I'm not talking about Aaron Rodgers, I'm talking about our boy. My thoughts on this haven't changed unless we're in the playoffs, playing a playoff game. Then roll with Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely, let's make a run. But I still think that it would be unwise to bring Aaron Rodgers back this year, knowing that we have him under contract for next year, knowing the injury that he's coming off of, knowing the age that he's at. I mean, everything. And it's unbelievable. I'm not taking anything away from his recovery. This is unbelievable to see. Like, nobody's seen this before, especially for a guy who's 40 years old. But I still think it's kind of crazy to bring him back. I don't know. I think it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, well, we shall see.
How many times am I going to drop my phone on the floor today?
Another 5 times. Someone says that's Robert Saleh's son. That's not Saleh's son. Saleh's son is not. I know who Saleh's son looks like. That's not him. This guy's a grown man. This guy, he doesn't. He's a grown man. This guy.
This guy's like 30 years old.
I know who you're referring to, and Saleh's son. I know exactly who you're thinking of, but that's not Saleh's son. I'm pretty sure. I mean, unless he has like a 30-year-old son, which I don't think he does. So yeah, that's not his son. But that's gonna wrap up the show, guys. The Jets Dolphins preview. I think that this is going to be a game for the ages. And I'm excited for it. I'm predicting a
I'm
Jets
excited
win.
as well,
And
my
if I'm
friend.
wrong, I'm wrong. And listen, I mean, if we lose, we lose, right? At this stage of the season, it's not like, oh, like it was against the Raiders. That's how I felt after that game. But this game, it's not really going to feel like that. But it's okay because we're going to win. Jack, final score prediction.
Final score prediction, I'm going 24-20. Jets, Jets.
That's very strange of you, Jack. Very strange because I happened to put my score prediction on X, and it was the same exact score.
Not making this up, folks. I didn't even see that.
So look at this, guys. This is me responding to Roundtable Sports on X. Guys, go follow it. Roundtable Sports. Yeah. My prediction, Jets win 24-20.
Love it. Sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
Wow.
Somebody says 27-13 Jets with Eccles getting his third pick six off Tua. Hey, man.
They got to get Eccles on the field because
I was going to say, Eccles is probably not going to be out there because all of our guys are
he
healthy.
owns
but hey,
Tua.
Brandon Eccles owns Tua Tagovailoa. So if we can find a way to get Eccles out onto the field on Sunday somehow, hey, sign me up, baby.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, guys. Salute to all you folks. 24-20 Jets win. I'll see you guys later. Peace and love as always. Hit that like button on your way out as always. Check us out on the podcast down below.
Let's go, baby.
See you later.
JTS, Jets.
Hey.